Good afternoon, everybody. I want to thank you guys for coming out to the Daiwa 2019 press conference. We have some great freshwater stuff we're going to introduce here today with our guys, and also saltwater. And you know, we're going to do something a little different this year. So we got this guy named Mark Zona, and he's going to kind of help me host it this year. So I'm going to get some of my money back from what I pay him. So it's going to be very good. But I just want to start off by introducing a brand new member of ours, Patrick Walters.
Rookie.
Mark. Now, everyone, Patrick Walters is on our team now. Please welcome him. Mark and I were talking about Patrick, and Mark called me up and said, you know, we got this great guy. You may want to take a look at him. So I looked at his resume, and I've seen a lot of resumes from guys, and I looked at it. He like double qualified for the elites. I was like, pretty impressive. And he had all these string of victories. And I told Patrick, I said, Patrick, you know, I want to see something right away from you. I have a lot of guys, these guys know.
That applied a little bit of stress on me after referring him. I looked at him the first term, I'm like, you better catch him, dude.
And I told him, I said, I wanted to see something right away. I don't want to wait 3 years. And if you don't do anything, I might not even introduce you at the press conference, because he never even flinched. He says, don't worry, Kurt, I got this. Started the year out with a bang. Was leading angler of the year for a few months. He's currently number 7th. Mark knows him as well. So I just want to introduce him. I think he's a great addition to our team, and we're glad to have him on board. I'll let these guys talk.
Perfect, thanks, Kurt. Really, I want to thank a lot of the media that's here. I've worked with so many of you, you know, really throughout the decades. And the one thing that I wanted to say before I introduce you to all of the anglers with Daiwa is one of the biggest differences with Daiwa that I've noticed with these guys that are behind me. These guys are specialists. They are absolute technicians on the water. So this will age me, but a lot of them I've covered since they've started fishing tournaments, which makes me feel a little bit older. But we're going to go through it, and the one thing, everything that you see in the Daiwa booth, from freshwater bass to multi-species to saltwater, these guys have their absolute fingerprint on them. The main thing that I know about Daiwa is they listen to these guys. They don't take a product and say, hey, this is what you're using. They get all of their feedback throughout the year. And I'm not going to sit up here and be long-winded, but I'm going to start with Patrick Walters from South Carolina, and he's going to kind of dial you in on some of the new Daiwa rods this year.
Patrick Walters, guys, and tell you the truth, I'm actually honored to be here and be with Daiwa. You know, I owe a lot of my success this year to Daiwa. Their products are by far, hands down, the best products on the market. And when you're fishing with the best, it makes it so much easier to just go out there and go fishing, because you're not worried about your equipment, you're not questioning. You have the best in your rod box, and it just goes out there and everything performs. And I'm not gonna lie, Kurt is he's straightforward, he's a blunt guy. I'm not gonna lie, he had me pretty honest, you know, at the beginning of the year when he called me. I was really excited to get the opportunity to work with Daiwa. And Kurt, he did say, he said, listen, if you don't catch them, we can't choose you. So I hope you catch them pretty quick. And I called him back after a couple tournaments. I said, I hope that was fast enough for you, Kurt. But you know, I'm really excited to be here with Daiwa and with all these guys. You know, Daiwa really looks for quality over quantity, and that's what you see here. Every single one of these guys are specialists, like Mark said, and that's why these rods are the best rods on the market, because each rod is tailored to what these guys like to do. It's whether it's drop shot or flipping, and that's why these rods they're hand picked to do that exact technique, and that's why they're so good. And two rods that the 2 series I've really been fishing with this year more than anything is the Tutuila bass rods and the Kage series, which I'm a big cork handle fan, and it's got the Fuji guides. It's X45 construction, so it's less twist, and so you get more accurate cast. And it's really one of those things that you have the confidence in it, and you have the confidence in your equipment, just like I have confidence in Daiwa.
Good stuff. Patrick Walters, Bassmaster Elite Series. From there, Bass Pro Shops Tour, Brandon Palaniuk, known as one of the best finesse fishermen on the best everything. Brandon Palaniuk's going to talk to us about the Daiwa Surte.
Yeah, thanks, Ash. Thanks. Yeah, so I'll just kind of go off of what Patrick said as well. I was fortunate to take a trip all the way to Japan, and I actually got to walk through the Japan headquarters. And I want to share this because when he was talking about how the company takes pride in what they do and the input that they take from the anglers, every single person I met all the way in Japan at the main office, all the way to the president of the company, the first thing they asked was, what can we do better? Literally every single person wanted to know, how can we make our products better? What do you see that, you know, is a missing item, or even some of our best products, how do we improve them? That to me speaks volumes. That leads throughout the company, and that's why a lot of these products are as amazing as they are. So this year I'm introducing the Certate. This is a amazing spinning reel, and the big thing with it is it's one piece aluminum frame. So that's going to give us a ton of tough durability, rigid, right? So it allows us to have those larger gears, so we don't have to downsize those gears. So we can create a smaller package with a tougher, more durable reel. It's available in 6 different sizes. So whatever species you're targeting, you can match that reel to your rod, to your technique, and to that species that you're fishing. So you've got the right equipment for that. 11 ball bearings, keeping it super smooth, mag sealed where we need it, so that you're going to have that protection for an extremely long time. So Daiwa Certate, amazing spinning reel. You guys need to check that one out. And next step in the lineup.
Exactly. Mr. Brandon, my fishing partner, thank you, Brandon. Brent Ehrler, I probably the number one reason I got with Daiwa years ago is we fished so much together. I was starting to take the majority of your rods and keep them in your reels. Anyway, Brent Ehrler's going to talk to us about the Daiwa Tutuila Elite.
The Tutuila Elite, yes, thank you, Mark, appreciate it. You know, actually, you talked about it, and well, everyone's talked about it so far, but the fact that Daiwa has actually come to us with a lot of improvements in the reels and rods and everything, and no offense to any engineers out here, but I think engineers are some of the dumbest smart people out there. And they have such great ideas, but real world is never really it just doesn't really come into play. And that's where we come in, is that we take the stuff that they come up with and we actually kind of turn it into an actual real world product that we can use. So they came out with the Tutuila Elite, which has been based off of the Tutuila 100. And it's the smoothest reel that we've ever had out there. It's very crisp. Seth is going to talk about the reason why. But smaller frame, the same frame as the Tutuila 100. The spool is lighter. And the thing about the lighter spool is going to have the kind of same application that the SB spool did. So we're going to be able to cast farther. It's going to eliminate backlashes to an extent. You don't have that centrifugal force with a heavier spool that's going to keep that spool going and have the overrun. So a lighter spool is going to help cast smaller baits and cast farther. Same frame size as the Tutuila 100. But the first thing I noticed, it was very crisp and very smooth. Now this is something that we were able to try starting back in March. And normally when we show up to ICAST, we're handed a product and said, hey, make a video about how good this is. And we're like, this is the first time I've seen it. This is not. We've been using this stuff for quite a while. Same thing with the Tutuila Elite rods. We're able to do it with the Tutuila 100. So Seth will tell you a little bit about the frame and some other reasons why he likes it, but it's a very far casting reel, very smooth and very crisp.
One of the things about Seth, who's coming up here in a second, a lot of people, when we covered him in tournaments and you've seen him on television, think of Seth as a smallmouth finesse fisherman. Actually, Seth cut his teeth fishing grass, torturing his reels on Minnetonka, and he'll tell you about the Tutuila.
Yeah, and that's where these the new frame construction on these Tutuila Elite reels, really the durability of them is going to be second to none. They have an aluminum frame, but the big part is they have an aluminum gear plate on the side, and what that does is going to keep your gears super tight. You're not going to have any of that flex. It's going to be super rigid, and those gears are going to last a lot longer. When you're wrenching, putting a heavy load on that reel, all those pieces are going to stay in place. You're not going to break teeth off your gears or anything like that. But the new long cast reel is a outstanding casting distance, and it's a lot more effortless too. Not only is it the longest casting reel we make, you can do it with half the effort. You can make a very soft cast, and the distance you get out of it's incredible. But pair that together with the durability, it's just a bulletproof reel. 90 millimeter handle on it, really comfortable, very similar to our regular Tutuila 100s, just a souped up race car of a reel, and something you really need to try out.
Another different product in Daiwa's lineup this year is the Daiwa Tutuila pitch and flip. And this guy right here has basically made a career in 3 foot of water and less. But the other side of that is he is the most abusive and torturous fisherman. I have been with you. He is going to tell you about the new pitch and flip Daiwa Tutuila.
Folks, how's it going? Monroe here. Yeah, the new flipping and pitching reel is amazing. You know, I'm probably the longest standing Daiwa pro staff here, so I've seen it all. Right now, we have probably the best president that we've ever had who allows us to design the products that we are going to use, which, once again, we believe to have the best pro staff out there on the market. So when, you know, Brent Ehrler tells you that he's going to, you know, he's catching them on a chatterbait, and his chatterbait rod is going to be the best one. It's going to be the best one. Cody Meyer being the finesse fisherman that he is. You know, Randy being the all-around versatile fisherman that he is. Seth, the amazing smallmouth guru and has the best hair on tour. And then you have, you know, the rookie. I definitely have to get on Patrick because I've been keeping an eye on him. He's going to catch them. He's going to be designing the products that are best. And obviously my little brother Brandon here, who's the prodigy. I mean, he's one of the most amazing fishermen out there. So when you guys talk about designing a reel, it's not just my input on a flipping pitching reel that gives you a 100 millimeter handle, that gives you, when you make that pitch, that low trajectory to present that bait softly in the water to catch those fish. The 13 pounds of drag, it's coming from all of us as a community coming together to design the best products for you. And the engineers that we have from Daiwa coming up with the T-Wing system is something that none of us thought about. So you take the best engineers in the world and you combine them with the best fishermen and obviously the best TV host with the most amazing show, you're gonna, yes, you are. You are the new Bill Dance. You are the new Bill Dance. But you take all of those products, you know, I mean, we even have the Zion Star Drag, which is the best drag on the market, 13 pounds of drag. When I'm flipping and pitching with 65-pound braided line, I want zero drag because I'm not going to break my line. So when I go to set that hook, I get no slip. That means that hook's going to bury in that fish's mouth. So you're getting the best products. So when, you know, for you dealers out there, the customer walks in to your shop and goes, well, what's the best? You go, well, look at the best fishermen out there on the planet. They're using these products. They design these products so that the everyday fisherman can go out there and catch more fish.
Thanks, Monroe. From there, going to give it over to Randy Howell. And Randy's actually going to talk to us a little bit more about that same reel.
Yeah, the same reel, man. Like Ish was saying, it's hard to follow Ish. That's why they always put me behind you. Notice that I'm behind you every time. They've even got his name in tape, Ish, right here, so I can bow down there. And that's like I need to do, right? That's good. No, just to kind of extend on what Brandon said and Ish both about engineering, and just like last week, just the simple stuff that people never get to see. You know, 3 Daiwa engineers came to Alabama last week. I didn't even know they were coming, and they come right to Gunnersville, and all of a sudden I get a call from Will Rogers rep, and he says, hey, are you around? The guys here from Daiwa are fishing today. They're doing some R&D testing, going to some of the dealers, getting feedback from dealers on new ideas for new rod models, reels, things like that. So they, you know, they came over and I met them and took them, gave them my Hobie kayaks, let them go out and fish some. They tested some stuff, and I went with them to a couple dealers and stores, and just to see all the detail they write down, you know, specific stuff that's really, you know, that goes over our heads a lot of times because we're not engineers. But like Ish said, when you put the best engineers with the greatest fishermen, it just makes things come together really good. So this reel, I'm on the video a little bit reel when we tested it after the Bassmaster Classic last year in March. We all met, and we do this every year, and we went out on the lake there in Tennessee, tested all this stuff, and they only gave me one of these reels. You know, Ish got the other 19 and they gave me one, and so I've only had one to play with, so I've had to move them around on different rods all year. And but this thing is so sweet. The other little simple thing You know, the big 100 millimeter handle is a power handle. When I first saw this big handle, I didn't know if I was going to like it because I've been using 90s for so long. And then instantly after I flipped with it some and I set the hook a couple times and I watched how quickly you can move that fish out of cover just with the simplicity of that big handle and that power gear that's in this flipping reel. It just makes a huge difference. I even put this reel on a little bit softer rod. I put it on Brent Ehrler's 7.3 Tutuila Elite rod and caught a 7-pounder at one of our tournaments at Chickamauga, and I had this reel on there, and I was standing up on the trolling motor sight fishing, and when it bit, I pulled it out from under the dock with about two handle turns with that 100 millimeter handle and that 8-1 retrieve. So that's the stuff that matters. Every fish you get in the boat matters, and you're going to catch more fish when you got the right equipment for it. And then the elite reel that Brandon talked about too, and Patrick talked about, I think, and that elite reel, just a long cast. I'm a big long caster with a lot of small baits. And I moved that reel around. I only had 2 of those, and I moved those reel around to different rods throughout the year just to throw little small baits to make longer casts. And I thought our Tutuila 100s that we had last year, that's what I'm using across the board this year. That reel looks the same, similar to this, but this reel casts probably another 20, 30 foot further on the same bait every time, and that's real impressive because the further you get away from a fish, the better odds you're going to have of catching them. So Daiwa's the team. These guys, all the engineers, you guys just keep supporting us. Thank all the dealers for what you're doing. If we can all help you any way, you let us.
Thanks a bunch for that, Randy. And actually, I did make the comment that I've covered every single one of you in bass tournaments throughout your career. I've actually never covered this guy right here, but we hang out a lot, and he's real sweet. Cody Meyer is going to talk to you about the sweet Daiwa J-Braid and new Daiwa fluorocarbon.
Does that mean I get to stand on the Z logo?
Have at it.
I mean, because I was going to take Ish's spot because he's big in Japan, but no, for me, guys, I'm a finesse fisherman at heart, but I love to flip. I love to use heavy braid, all that stuff. And so when Daiwa presented me with the opportunity earlier this year to use their J braid, their J fluoro, I thought about it and then I tried it and it changed my life. This stuff is absolutely phenomenal. I kind of want to run you through some of the J braid we have, or actually all the J braid we have. For starters, we have the J braid X4. This is the J braid that I use if I'm combat fishing. Short pitches, in the grass, need that raw power. This is going to be a Dyneema material, 4-strand weave, very, very good braid. Next we're going to have the X8. This is going to be same material, but an 8-strand braid, a lot smoother, quieter. I love the chartreuse color right here for my spinning rod and reel applications. You're going to be able to make a long cast, see that, zero stretch, and like I say, it's going to be a lot quieter. And then we have the Grand. This is an 8-strand material. It's made of an Isonos material, so it's a new material. What is really cool about that is when you put this on your reel and you make that cast, no water is going to get in this braid. So once you start with this braid, it's going to stay like that. This is my go-to braid. This is, it's very quiet, very smooth. A lot of times when you're flipping grass or, close combat fishing, you do not want to make a lot of noise, so you're not going to hear this braid go through the guides. Also, it's 4 times more abrasion resistant than some of the other braids. Again, this is the braid that I absolutely love. This J braid lineup is really, really cool. All the way down to the J fluoro. This is sorry, Randy, good catch. This is something that I'm really excited about. This is new. It's a leader material, so you're not going to spool up your whole reel with this. This is a leader material. It is made in Japan, which is really, really big. Also 100% fluorocarbon, very soft, very supple, from 2 pound, which is what Ish Monroe uses all the time, 2 pound all the way up to an 80 pound. So if you're a saltwater guy, you want that leader, you can go with a really big one. If you're a bass guy like myself, you might go down to 2 pound, but you're going to stick with those 6, 7, 8 all the way up to 30 pound. One thing that's cool is from 20 pound and lower, it's going to be 100 yard, 25 pound and above, it's going to be 50 yard spools. Again, leader material, 100% fluorocarbon, and just a little attention to detail. You guys check this out. Each spool is going to come with this little band on here. You're going to see a little band. You can flip it over. It could be black, it could be white. But you're going to put your line through here, and when you need, 3 or 4 feet, all you're going to do is you're going to pull on the thing and get out what you need. So you're not going to waste line, throw money down the bank, throw it in the water, whatever you want to do. That is something really cool. And again, this stuff is really, really good line. I'm really excited about all these products, the J Braid and the J Flora. So make sure you guys check them out.
Good stuff from Cody Meyer, and we're going to move on. I know we talked about the classic Tutuila bass rods, the Tutuila Elite reels, the Tutuila Elite rods, but my friend Brent Hite is going to talk to us about a couple different rods and lures.
Well, thank you guys. Thanks, Z. I'm real fortunate. I get to use Daiwa reels and I get to use Evergreen rods. Daiwa and Evergreen have kind of become partners maybe 5 or 6 years ago. Distributing baits and the rods that I helped design and a couple other guys. I'm going to talk to you guys today about 3 new models that we're coming out with in the Combat Series stick. They have the camouflage grips on them. We've got 2 guys over there in the booth. Justin Kerr and Sean Bailey are probably the best big bait specialists in Southern California. They're the ones who kind of started a lot. They designed a 8'6" heavy action or extra heavy action swim bait rod. And I mean, this is for your big 10, 12-inch glide baits. They've been working on this for a while, and it's really, really the right one. It has a big handle on it. That's the biggest problem. Not having a big handle, it really hinders you trying to cast those big baits. And with that big handle, it's really effortlessly. And what's awesome about all these rods is they retail for that $199 price range. So you have that JDM really high-end technology that Evergreen's known for in their rods, and it's just an awesome price point for the U.S. consumer market. The next one is another swim bait rod. It's a 7/8. It's good for maybe a Alabama rig, medium to small size swim baits. A wake bait. It's just a really good versatile rod. And then the next one is a 8-foot punching rod. I just copied Ish's punching rod and made it mine. But it is really nice that between Evergreen and Daiwa, they listen to what we say. They're all pro design, pro influenced designs. And the last one is a bait that I've been using for about the last 2 years. It's been a Japan only. It's actually designed by Marizo Shimizu, which is a good buddy of ours who used to fish on the Elite Series. It's called the Flat Force. And I called Kurt and I called everybody at Evergreen. I'm like, you guys have got to get this bait in the U.S. It's a flat-sided crankbait, so it's real similar to kind of that Tennessee balsa style crankbait. It has the micarta lip or computer board style lip in it. It's silent. We got, I believe, 8 awesome colors. It dives anywhere between 3 to 6 foot, depending on line size and cast. But I've caught a ton of big fish on this thing, cold water, stained water, and even this year when it got even warmer, in real clear water. So just an unbelievable flat-sided crankbait that, and like I said, it's not a balsa, it's an injected crankbait. So it's going to withstand you hitting it up against the dock, on the rocks, stuff like that. So check it out at the Evergreen International booth. Thank you guys so much for listening to us, and we appreciate all the support.
Thank you, Brent Hite. And really, we're going to leave, just got a couple more folks coming up here. We're going to leave the bass world for 1 second. One of the biggest names, hands down, bar none, in this industry is the Lindner name. And really, I got to tell you something. It's an honor to have James Lindner up here. Truly one of the pioneers of this sport, and you're going to talk to us a little bit about some of the products outside of bass fishing, more multi-species.
Absolutely right. It's a pleasure to work with Daiwa. We've been working with them for probably about 5 years now, and throughout the course of the season, Jeremy and I, we actually generate like 75 different television programs, but for every different species in freshwater, everything from ice fishing, the small profile Daiwa reels. Believe it or not, people don't like to hear about ice fishing right now. But the thing is, in the northern markets, it's about 25-30% of product sales in our northern retailer stores. It's a big deal. We also get a chance to fish for walleyes, bass, northern pike, muskies, catfish. So we actually utilize the entire product line of Daiwa's products, and it's really intriguing. But what we're going to share with you, Jeremy and I, we're going to talk a little bit about the our big game reels, and it's the Lexa 400 and the Lexa 300 HD, which are a tremendous reel for big game fishing. What I mean big game fishing, we fish for sturgeon, we fish for muskies, catfish. But the interesting thing is Jer, you want to take it over and talk a little bit about the details and the mechanics of this reel and its application for various fishing situations. You know, that's one thing when you muskie fishing, it's sort of interesting, just like bass fishing, when you guys look at all these guys and they're all specialists that do this, that, you know, various techniques, and these guys do it all at one given point in time. Muskie fishing is the exact same way. It's really a lot of very fine, detailed types of presentations, from throwing really high-speed small baits to these baits that weigh a pound, and you cast them incessantly for 12 hours a day, and it's an amazing thing.
Yeah, so this, thank you for having us here. So, like Jim mentioned, a lot of the big game fishing, particularly muskie fishing, is probably the most demanding thing that you can ever put a reel through. Like he mentioned, you're throwing baits that might weigh a pound, and you think about chucking those for hours and hours and hours. This reel is coming in and out of gear constantly. Every once in a while, you might smash the reel into gear with a pound bait flying really fast, and these reels can handle that. So I got a chance, actually, I just came back from Ontario, Canada, muskie fishing with this reel last week and caught a number of 25 to 35 pound fish on this reel. And so what I like about the new design on this is a couple things. One is the clutch on it is really amazing. So with muskies in particular, they'll bite at the boat a lot of times. You can have a 30-pound fish bite with 6 inches of line out, right? And you need to be able to get the fish away from the boat quickly. So having a clutch that you can disengage, we free spool it basically, and you'll use basically the free spool as your drag. However, if you get caught in a pinch and you can't push that down, the drag is very ergonomical. It's right at your hands. You can spin it back, and it's like butter. You'll find a lot of reels where if you get stuck by a big fish, the drag will bind. You almost have to pull the line out. With these Daiwa drags, whether it's spinning or casting, they're just butter. They move out super quickly, and you don't have to worry about a big fish tearing off or jumping off close to the boat. The other thing is the stainless gears in here. So if you muskie fish and you're putting reels through punishment day in, day out, brass gears, I've even seen plastic gears, they just go to, they don't last, right? This is a reel that's designed to last, and we put these things through tremendous punishment. The other thing they do that's really big is the gearing on these things. So the 400, we'll throw baits that are 13 size blades, a lot of drag, a lot of pull. A 5 gear on that 400, you can pull big baits all day. Now wear yourself out, we make them in 6, 7, and 8 if you need the real high speed. And on the 300, we've got them in 6.3, 7, and 8. So for those really special, if you're pulling hard, you get the 6 gear on the 300, or if you're picking up slack, you've got that 8 gear. So it's really an amazing reel for big fish fishing, muskies in particular, but big cats, sturgeon, you name it. This is a reel that can do the work big time.
Good stuff. Thanks, Jeremy. Thank you, James. Real quick. Last but not least, he's the last one that's going to get up here to talk real quick. And he's probably our biggest big fish guy from Saltwater Experience, Tom Rowland.
All right. Hi, everybody. Thanks for having us here and listening to everything that we're talking about. I couldn't do a better job than you did explaining this Lexa. They asked me to talk about 3 of the reels that we're going to use this year on our show. If you're familiar with our show, it's inshore saltwater fishing and some offshore fishing. We'll do, we fish for over 50 different species of fish, and I'm very excited because these reels are going to offer us an opportunity to showcase some of the techniques that we haven't ever been able to put on television. The Lexa, just as Jeremy said, it's the same reel that they're using for muskie. And we're going to be using this for live bait tarpon fishing. So while, yes, a muskie is a really big fish, a tarpon is even bigger, but we experience the same problems. If you get a tarpon that takes off in free spool, generally the client's getting their hands burnt. Sometimes the clutch doesn't engage. This is solving all those problems. Plus it's in a package that the one big difference between the muskie and the saltwater fishing is the environment. For all 3 of these reels, just simply the saltwater environment it's really the harshest environment on the planet. So wreaks havoc with all kinds of reels. So a super high quality reel is very, very important. Of course, Daiwa is known for that. So we're going to be using this for a lot of live bait fishing. We're also going to be throwing big lures for barracudas, big redfish, Goliath groupers, all kinds of stuff in a very light, easy to manage reel. The other one, South Florida is traditionally dominated by spin fishing. The spinning reel is very easy for a lot of people to use. You can get a tremendous amount of drag and torque on them. You can catch a lot of different kinds of fish. Be one that we're going to be using just for that purpose. We'll fish for basically everything with this reel. It can handle just about anything that we're going to throw at it. You're going to see a lot of people getting a whole arsenal of these. Guides will probably buy 10 or 12 of them for their boats. It fits a nice price point, and it's going to be able to handle any fish that we happen to catch. And the last one, this is the one that's really nice. I mean, this thing is super, super smooth. The Certate, it's up to a 5,000 size, and this is the one that is the smoothest, and we'll probably be using as our battle axe this year. It'll do anything that we want to do with it, from offshore fishing, permit fishing, tarpon fishing. It's a battle axe. This is the one that'll probably be used the most. So I'll be here afterwards if you have any specific questions about saltwater applications with these reels. But I want to thank everybody for coming, and I'm sure all of us are here for questions.
Exactly. Thank you, Tom. And real quick, one of the things that I definitely want to say is, again, I can't stress this enough. Thank you to all of you that have come really to this press conference. And the other side, and I've thought about this a lot. I work with Kurt and Carrie and Mills, and I work with all the, it's hard to put Mills in there too, but I do. I mean this, one of the most impressive things to me about Daiwa is what I started off with, and every single one of these guys talked about it, is their fingerprints are on these products. But to me, I look around and I see young anglers that are hanging out here. One of the most impressive things about Daiwa that I've learned the last few years is making quality products that people can afford, okay? That is a big, big deal right now in this industry, and a hats off to all of you guys. Thank you. All the pros will be here for videos and information. Again, thank you so much.